Welcome back to the Flow Friday Sports Show here on Flow FM. Great to be joined once again by Spud McKay for all the latest in the Northern Areas Footy Association. How are you going, Spud?
Yeah, good, thanks, Dan. Yes, a lot of the players were happy to have last weekend off, but there were 7 from Northern Areas and about 9 from Northeastern that all went down and played at Victor Harbour in the country championships. So they are our best performing players over the year, and they would have really got a lot out of being able to pit themselves against the best of the players in the country zones.
Absolutely, and I'm sure that those that weren't playing were probably just pretty happy to have a weekend off.
Yeah, certainly, and they'll come back refreshed for this week. But yeah, it wasn't a great carnival for Northern as far as results go, but look, sometimes it's not really about the winners and losers. It's more about being a part of it, and you can always learn from it. In the first match, Northern were up against Centrals, and they started okay, Northern did, but then Centrals were just far too good in the second half, and they finished up winning 8-4 to 4-5. And then in the second game on the Saturday, Eastern, who were the eventual carnival winners, 6-7 defeated Northern 2-3. So there was a fair bit of difference there. They reduced games just 25 minutes half. So that's why you don't get huge scores there. But you've got to get a result in the 2 days. And then on the Sunday, of course, Northern then had a front up in the first match, which is played pretty early, probably 9, 10 o'clock or something. 10 o'clock, I reckon it is, on the Sunday morning. And Southeast were finished up too good for Northern, but Northern performed a lot better in this game. So Southeastern 9-7 defeated Northern 6-6. So a pretty good performance there, but of course it puts Northern in the bottom position. The best player for Northern over the whole carnival was Nick Kramer from SGL, and he had a really strong carnival over the 2 days. And Charlie Riggs from Minman was the only rep in the team of the carnival. So he's a ruckman and was first ruck there. And I'm not too sure, but I reckon that they pick a team of the carnival, and then there's a state team that is picked. State team can be different because of the fact that you might have somebody that's injured and doesn't play in those, doesn't play but all the games in that country championships that might have been there. But they look to sort of pick a bit different side for the interstate game against Western Australia later on. Matt Kromnitz from SGL was the coach of the side and was reasonably happy with their performance over the 2 days. And I'm sure they'll learn from that. With the addition of Northeastern for the first time into Northern Zone, it's been that's been a big fill-up for the Northern Zone, and I'm sure that they'll continue to be better as they get used to one another in the coming years.
All right, thank you for all that, Spud. That is Country Champs wrapped up for another year, and like you said, with the weekend off and the boys that weren't selected now well rested for the home stretch of the season, we get back to the round 12 action in the Northern Areas Footy Association. 5 rounds left before finals, so things are really heating up here. Jamestown Peterborough this weekend hosting Orroroo. It's going to be a tough game for Jamestown Peterborough. Orroroo sitting in that top 3 pack and looking to climb higher.
Oh yeah, Jamestown Peterborough, while they always give their best, they probably haven't got the class that Orroroo can give with Darren Hughes, who played last weekend in the zone, and then their captain Tom Reed. Aidan Lee in the ruck is a quality ruckman, if not the best in Northern Areas. He's certainly one of the best around. And then Isaac Moller and Ollie Dignan give them great venues to go up forward and usually kick goals for them each week. Whereas Jamestown Peterborough, Angus Leese and Brock Grayson have probably been their 2 best performing players. Nick Rinn is solid. He's had to come out. He struggles with injury now, and they try to have him just at full forward, but he's had to come down and play around the on ball. So if he was fit, that's where he would be, and is a really strong player. Daniel Clark across a half-back flank is usually solid for them, and Max McKay and Henry Moore will try and do their best in the ruck against Aidan Lee, and so that'll be a big thing. But you would reckon that Orroroo will win this one fairly easily.
All right, tips in for Orroroo there, and they are going along very nicely this season, so they will be hard to slow down. Southern Flinders hosting Broughton Mundura in our next game. This one should be pretty intriguing, both sitting right around each other on the ladder, but Broughton Mundura 4 games ahead, even though they are separated by just one spot.
Yeah, Broughton Mundura are starting to play some pretty solid football over the last 3 or 4 weeks there. Their coach, Tommy Whelan, would be pretty happy with the way they're starting to put it together. And they now loom as not just making up the numbers in that top 4, but they are there and in with a real chance of perhaps getting to the big one when we play off in September. Their best have been Callis Freer, William Hewitt, Kane Bowley, Aaron Laverty is pretty handy for them. I think with Southern Flinders, they will struggle because they probably rely on 3 or 4 that are consistently in their best players. Shane Ballantyne is really good for them. Matt Spencer's been great on ball. And then Zeke Kay in the back line for them has been solid all the time. But Will Smart and Scott Coombe are a couple of younger players that they sort of have their moments around, but I don't think they'll be good enough, and I'd expect Broughton Mundura to win this one because it's a pretty important game. They wouldn't want to slip up on this one, but not that it's going to make any difference to the actual premiership table, but it does make a bit of difference to your confidence. You want to be starting to set things up now for the finals.
Absolutely, you do. And Broughton Mundura, if they can win, they will close in on that top pack because BMW and Crystal Brook, the top teams, they're playing off at Bullaroo Oval. This is easily going to be the match of the round, you would think. Very intrigued to see who wins this one. Who are you tipping, Spud?
Yeah, okay. Well, at Bullaroo Centre, the interesting thing there is it's sort of they leave the games until later in the season because they usually reckon that that ground will be little bit softer because it's not. I don't think it's watered with anything other than the natural stuff that falls out the sky. So and we haven't had very much of that.
There hasn't been much of that falling.
So I think it's going to be interesting. You'll probably find that the ball bounces a little bit differently on that oval compared to some of your ones that are watered on a regular basis. But BMW, Cody Wolford has been pretty solid along with their coach, Alec Kanga and Rory Cumnick. Their backline is pretty solid. Nick McCullum, Matt Fowles, Eric Brereton, they do a good job for them. And I think we spoke before that BMW, they didn't have any reps in that zone team, but they're just a solid team, and that's what it is all about, is trying to get a solid team effort week in, week out. Crystal Brook, on the other hand, they are starting to really put some pressure on now. They did have a slip up there against Broughton Mundura a fortnight ago, but Will Coombe and Jackson Richmond are pretty solid for them. Braden Kirk is another. He's had a little bit of experience in the SANFL playing for Port Adelaide last year, and with the Magpies there. Leo Coates is good either on ball or up forward at kicking the goals, and Oscar Pedler in the ruck. Now they don't have him every week. He is missing sometimes, but between Oscar Pedler and Matt O'Day, they are probably their standout ruckman. It'll be really hard. I guess all you can sort of say here is maybe BMW because of their home ground advantage, but certainly a great match and one that you'd want to be looking at in order to see how we're going to be setting up towards the finals.
Match of the round and maybe even match of the season so far. It's going to be a cracker, especially playing on those sort of unknown conditions there at Bullaroo Oval. So really looking forward to seeing how that one does shake up. Top spot on the line in that game. Spud, enjoy the footy this weekend. Good luck to everyone out there who is playing in the Northern Areas Footy Association tomorrow. And Spud, will catch you next Friday. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. See you next week.